Okay, hello everyone. So this is Genesis, Jacob, and Victoria, and today we'll be presenting our New York State math assessment on grades 3 to 8. So here I'm going to give you guys a little brief information. So who takes the test? Students in grades 3 through 8. What is the test on? So the test consists of multiple choice and open-ended questions. When is the test taking? So the test is taken every year during springtime. So that's the month of May and June. How is the test score? So the tests are scored through distributed scoring process, which I will explain in the next few slides. So before we get started, I would like to explain the PUMI for this assessment. So the purpose for this assessment is to measure students' mathematical understanding and mathematical practices gained in the classroom in order to answer three types of questions, which are multiple choice, short, and expanded response. The results for this assessment are used to evaluate students' foundation skills necessary for success in the next grade. So that means applying knowledge to open-ended questions, explaining their responses and their reasoning, and also problem solve. The method that is most appropriate to this assessment is answering multiple choice questions and open-ended questions. The instruments that are needed to carry out this assessment are the field test booklet, number 2 pencil, rulers for grades 3 through 8, reference sheets for grades 5 through 8, protractor for grades 4 through 8, and a calculator. And the sixth graders, they need a specific calculator, which is a scientific calculator. Now, here I'll explain the format of the test, right? So the test is divided into two sessions. The first session, which is the multiple choice. So the multiple choice basically assess standards algorithm and conceptual standards, and multiple choice integrate both grade level standards and the standards for mathematical practices. Now the second session again has multiple choice and short responses. So the short responses often require multiple steps, that the application of multiple mathematical skills and real world application. And it also includes expanded questions. So the expanded questions allow students to show their understanding of mathematical procedures, conceptual understanding, and application. And so the exam structure. So the exam, as mentioned before, it consists of multiple choice, short, and expanded questions. So the multiple choice are worth 1 point, while the short response are worth 2 points, and the expanded responses are worth 3 points. So now the multiple choice questions are followed by four choices, of course, choosing one as the correct answer. And students are to record the response in their field test booklet. And for the short and expanded questions, students are required to write an appropriate response. Now, the exam, what's the exam designed to measure? So the exam is designed to measure students' core of education program by evaluating the students' mastery of the content and skill in various areas. Also measuring the extent to which the students are on track to graduating. And this also helps shape the future instructions. Also, the exam gives teacher information about where their students are in their paths towards college and their career. And for the DOE, the exams result is used for developmental of formative process. So this means that to see how the schools are performing and to identify areas and where the schools can be better supported. And then some DOE programs and middle school use the exams result for decisions about admission. And the exam administrated. So when is the exam administrated? So the exam is administrated to a group of students in a single classroom. So the first session, it's was between 55 to 65 minutes. The second session was 60 to 70 minutes. But in 2016, this was changed because now there's the time limit has been removed by the NYSED, and the schools elected to administer the test on the days that they would like to choose. So as long as they stay within the field testing period. So for example, last year in 2019, the field test dates were between May 28th and June 7th. Why are the exams administered? Well, every spring, grades 3 through 8 mathematical tests are administered to students across the New York State. And the math exams are required by the Federal Every Student Succeed Act of 2015. And the scores, so basically the scores interprets what it interprets. So the the student's correct answer are converted into the student's quote unquote scale score. So the scale score is basically divided into 4 performance levels. So level 1 is where the students perform well below proficiency standards in their grade. So this means that the student demonstrated limited knowledge, skills, and practices embodied by the Common Core learning standard for math, which are considered insufficient for the expectations at this grade. Now, a student who scored at level 2, the students perform partially proficient in standards for grade. So this means that the students demonstrated knowledge and skills and practices embodied, once again, in the Common Core language standards for math, and that is considered partially but not insufficient for expectations at this grade. And students who score at a level 3, the students perform proficient in standards of their grade level. So this means that the student demonstrated knowledge, skills, and practice embodied in the Common Core language standards for math, and that is considered sufficient for expectations at this grade. And lastly, a level 4, the students perform at this level, excel the standards for their grade. So that means that the student demonstrated knowledge, skills, and practices embodied in the New York State Common Core learning language standards for math, and that is considered more than sufficient for the expectation for this grade. And as you can see here, I provided a little graph, and so once the test is taken at the month of August, the results are received on parents' report, which includes the students' score, their performance level, information on their strengths and weaknesses in the different skills areas tested. And the scores are used to, so basically the scores are used to, the results can be used to see how the school district and the state overall are performing with the state learning standards. So however, what this means is that the state law and regulations of Education Commissioner prohibits districts from making promotions or placements decisions for students based solely on or primarily on the exam performance, and the result of the exams cannot be used to evaluate teachers. Now, some of the accommodations for ELS that this math assessment provides is for ELS is a separate location for them, translated editions. So this means that the assessment is provided in the languages of Chinese, Haitian Creole, Korean, Russian, and Spanish. And if the exam is not available in the student's native language, then the exam can be translated orally. Students are also provided with bilingual dictionaries and glossaries, and also the written response can be done in the student's L1. And then for formal English language learners, the exam accommodate is not provided for formal ELs who were identified as English language proficiency prior to the 2017 NYSA SLAT admission. So students who have not been, also students that have been in the United States for less than a year are exempt from taking the test. And here I've provided basically a curriculum model for the math assessment. So this is divided into strands, as you see here, clusters and domains. So the strands define what students should understand and be able to do and further articulate in the letter component. And the cluster here are groups related, are groups of related standards, and then the domain are larger groups of the related cluster. So for example, here we have this curriculum model relating to a third grade multiplication and division introduced initially, which is right here, of the multiplication division in a brief period at the start of the year. And then it continues to develop strategies and problem solving throughout the year. And then it includes materials to be used throughout the year for helping students reach fluency by the end of the year with a single digit multiplication related division. Let me see here. And some promotions policies is that in the 2013-2014, the year, the NYSED changed the way schools make promotion decisions for students in grades 3 through 8. And the student score of the New York State math exams are not the main factor in promotion decision, but instead the schools make the promotion decision on multiple measures of students' progress, which include report cards, assessments, assignments, and other school students' work. How do the school make promotion decisions? So the decision is basically decided by the principal based on the multiple measures of the student's readiness for the next grade level. So the teacher will review work from the school year and identify the student who may not be ready for the next school year. And then at the end, the principal is the one who has the end say in this. And some recent changes. And lastly, some recent changes that have occurred is that in 2015, the assessment was aligned with the Common Core language standards, and now in 2019, it's aligned to the New York State P12 learning standard for mathematics. And then also in the last few years, the assessment has moved to on-time testing, and this was changed in 2016, and also reducing the numbers of questions in the test, and then now the test also involved New York City teachers to develop the testing. And then optionals and reductions of numbers for the testing session. So in 2017, schools have had options to administrate the exams on computers or papers. And in 2017, the Board of Regents reduced the numbers of days of students testing on the exam from 3 sessions to 2 sessions.